Hello fight fans, thanks for joining us at MMA Insider. Before we get rolling with today's news, show some love by hitting that like button and subscribing. Now let's uncover the latest happenings in MMA. Starting off, Kevin Holland explains how he can knock out UFC welterweight champion Belal Muhammad. Moving on, Colby Covington claims DEI doctor and headbutt resulted in TKO loss to Joaquin Buckley. Lastly, Ali Abdelaziz made a very bold statement about UFC lightweight champion Islam Makhachev. Kevin Holland believes there's a path for him to put the current UFC welterweight champion Belal Muhammad to sleep. Holland has competed at both welterweight and middleweight. He currently calls the 185-pound division his home. Despite being a middleweight at the moment, Holland admits that he believes Belal Muhammad would be an easier fight for him than the reigning 185-pound king Dricus du Plessis. In fact, Holland could see a scenario where he scores a knockout win over Muhammad. Appearing on the Overdogs podcast, Kevin Holland was asked if the easier fight for him would be against Belal Muhammad or Dricus du Plessis. Holland was honest in his answer, and he isn't lacking confidence in terms of how he'd fare against Muhammad. Easier fight, I have to say honestly, probably is Belal. People can say what they want to say about du Plessis. His style is ugly, his style is this, his style is that. He is a gritty fight, and it doesn't matter what you're doing that night, you're going to have to deal with that grit. I like grit, so I'm fine with that. Belal, I really honestly believe if I shut down the takedown, Belal gets knocked. Holland is scheduled to take on former one middleweight and light heavyweight champion Reinier de Ridder on January 18th. The bout will be featured on the UFC 311 card. It'll be the first UFC pay-per-view event of 2025. Having gone 1-3 in his last 4 outings, Holland is looking to score a win over a name that has been getting some buzz. Can the Kevin Holland get back on track? UFC welterweight contender Colby Covington is still unhappy with his loss to Joaquin Buckley. Colby Covington returned to the octagon in the main event of UFC Tampa earlier this month. Back for the first time since a loss to Leon Edwards last December, Colby Covington headed to the cage on short notice. After Ian Machado Gary was pulled to face Shavkat Rakhmonov, the former interim champion stepped up to face Joaquin Buckley. While Colby Covington hoped new coach Chael Sonnen would guide him to victory, he was largely dominated. The wrestler got busted up early and handed a huge cut on his eyelid. After taking some huge shots and with the blood pouring, the doctor called off the fight in round 3. Afterwards, Sonnen admitted that he was going to throw the towel in if the bout wasn't stopped. However, Colby is still unhappy about the stoppage loss. Speaking in a recent video on his YouTube channel, Colby Covington reflected on his loss to Joaquin Buckley. There, the 36-year-old again took aim at the doctor, adding that he would have finished Buckley if the bout made it into the championship rounds. Everyone knows I'm a 4th and 5th round fighter. I'm just getting started getting into those championship rounds. I could have finished him in that 4th and 5th round. He was breathing heavy. He didn't have much more to offer. He wasn't going to have much volume in those last rounds. It was a close competitive fight. He didn't outclass me. He didn't drop me. He didn't really hurt me. There was a little cut that happened, and I rewatched it back. But it wasn't a punch. It's unfortunate that DEI doctor stopped the fight early. I thought it was just getting started, and there was a lot more that needed to be settled in there. As of now, Colby Covington is yet to schedule his return to the octagon. However, Colby has called for a clash with Gilbert Burns in recent weeks. Burns last appeared in the cage in September, where he suffered a unanimous decision loss to Sean Brady. Ali Abdelaziz made a very bold statement about UFC lightweight champion Islam Makhachev. Makhachev, 26-1 MMA, 15-1 UFC, runs things back with Arman Tsarukyan, 22-3 MMA, 9-2 UFC, January, 18 in the UFC 311 main event from Intuit Dome in Inglewood, California, and airs on ESPN Plus pay-per-view following prelims on ESPN and ESPN Plus. The fight marks a rematch after Makhachev defeated Tsarukyan by unanimous decision in April 2019 in what was Tsarukyan's UFC debut. Abdelaziz, who like many others regards his client as the number 1 pound-for-pound fighter in the sport ahead of UFC 311, is so high on Makhachev that he even sees him being a bad stylistic matchup for UFC light heavyweight champion Alex Pereira. I don't think any man from 155 pounds to 185 pounds can beat Islam Makhachev. It doesn't exist. I believe 155, 170, 185. I think Islam can beat anybody at any given day. This is what I believe in because what he's shown me, the development, the improvement. I think Islam will beat Alex Pereira at 205. I do. I swear to Allah. I think Islam Makhachev will beat Alex Pereira. He's just going to take him down and finish him, submit him. Alex Pereira can knock out anybody on the planet if he touches you. But I think Islam Makhachev is this good. Skill for skill. I think he's one of the best fighters, most complete fighters we've ever seen. Abdelaziz also disagrees with Dana White's statement that UFC heavyweight champion Jon Jones is the pound-for-pound #1 fighter. He thinks Makhachev's resume has been more impressive than Jones, and he's deserving of his top spot in the official UFC rankings. The man finished 7 of his last 8 opponents. He beat the pound-for-pound #1, first ranked. The caliber of fighters he beat is not like who Jon Jones beat, and that's no disrespect to Jon Jones. He's amazing, but he's beaten Cyril Gane, who can't wrestle. He beat Stipe Miocic, who's a grandfather. Thank you so much for tuning into today's video. Your dedication and support fuel our passion to bring you the latest and greatest in the MMA world. If you enjoyed today's news, please give us a thumbs up and share it with fellow MMA fans. Remember to subscribe to stay in the loop with daily MMA updates. We've got a lot of exciting news, interviews, and analysis coming your way every single day. Your engagement helps us grow and serve the MMA community even better. Once again, thank you for being an integral part of our daily MMA journey.